The switch from Autism Awareness Month to Autism Acceptance Month started in 2011 by a board member of ASAN, the Autism Self Advocacy Network. So, this is the 10th anniversary of the switch. Yay! I didn't know that until researching this. I wish I had known earlier. I could have made a comic or something about it. I don't know. Oh well, I have other stuff planned. This board member is Paula Durbin Westby, who is also an autistic disability rights activist. Asan stated, and I quote, acceptance of autism as a natural condition in the human experience is necessary for real dialogue to occur. Asan also explained that acceptance is an active process that requires both a shift in thinking and in action. Awareness is passive. You can be aware of something and change nothing about how you think or act. Acceptance, on the other hand, requires change. That's why the shift was so important. There are plenty of people who are aware of autism's existence, but don't accept it. Try to cure it and treat it. Paula explained that she decided on changing it from autism awareness to acceptance because awareness had been tried already. Autism awareness is ad campaigns saying that autism is more prevalent than pediatric cancer, diabetes, and AIDS. Autism Awareness is that dreadful I Am Autism video made by Autism Speaks that's shot like a horror movie where autism sounds like a slasher villain. Autism Awareness certainly made people aware of autism, but misrepresented it so horribly that it's viewed as something as bad as a deadly disease. Autism Awareness was tried, and it failed us. It failed autistics. So it became our job to take the charge and change the narrative. And that's what Paula did. She'd had enough and decided to try and take the reins away from neurotypicals. She chose the word acceptance specifically because one of the definitions of acceptance is positive welcome and belonging. She didn't want us to be seen as, I accept you. She didn't want it to be seen as, I accept you, but not your autism. She wanted to show that autism was part of us, and that if you were going to accept us, you had to accept our autism. In 2013, Asan made an autism acceptance website, which has a whole bunch of resources, including a book called Welcome to the Autistic Community, and it's 100% free to download. I'll link the website below. When Autism Acceptance Month started spreading online, it was found that there were actually many people, autistic and not, who were sick of the message autism awareness was spreading. The message that autism was was a monster that needed to be thwarted. Paula said that in 2017, she wanted to see how much autism acceptance had changed the narrative by doing online searches for both autism awareness and autism acceptance. What she found was that horrible speeches on autism that were made during previous years of Autism Awareness Month had been deleted by the organizations that once promoted them. The more acceptance spread, the more that people complained about these negative views. So these organizations were forced to remove this content to avoid bad press.
Okay. Now, it's been noticed that someone was asking about how autistic people are treated in China. Uh, Being a teacher here, I have some firsthand experience with that. And sadly, like with pretty much all mental illnesses here in China, we're very much stuck in the past where it's just, we don't say or do anything in response to this. This is in response to Beta Person 2021, their question. It's it's still very much like it was even 50 years ago. No, I guess maybe closer to 60, 70, when it was just completely shunned. You don't talk about it. It's asylum worthy sort of things here in China, although there's no asylums whatsoever in regards to that for anyone who is not like. I don't think there's any major asylums here. I'd have to actually look that up though, so don't quote me on that. Uh, it's not properly acknowledged. There's not really a lot of tools in place. It's basically up to the teachers. Do you know how to help kids who have autistic traits to get them through this kind of thing? And I have been able to help a few, but it's the sort of thing you have to literally notice it yourself. Be like, hey, is do we have any information on this? Because the parents won't tell you. The school isn't allowed to tell you. No one is allowed to be told about this. It's very much a situation that is regrettable for a lot of these students, especially once I figure it out and suddenly I can help them and they do better because I make sure either I'm not loud around them, I'm a loud person. Uh, Perhaps it's as much as when they have to take a test, they get to go to the what we call the success room and have a quieter space, that kind of thing. Just for all these different things, and it's not properly acknowledged. The hopeful thing about all of this, though, for all of you, the hopeful thing is guess what? This younger generation, the one I'm teaching, the ones who have just recently graduated, are literally telling teachers, I want to go into psychology so that I can help everybody else. My parents don't get this, but I am seeing so many people having mental health issues because they get it and they want to bring it into the modern sort of era with regards to how we view and look at mental health. So there's a lot of positivity on the horizon.
Thank you for answering that question. Yeah, in this case, you're much better equipped to do that than me. So, as I was saying before, I was very, what's the word? Importantly interrupted. I guess that's a way of putting it. It was an important question to answer. So, just as Autism Acceptance Month is a counter movement to Autism Awareness Month, there have been a couple of counter movements to combat against the Light It Up Blue campaign. And that's Red Instead and Light It Up Gold. From what I understand about the Red Instead movement, the color red was chosen because blue is often seen as a color for loss, grief, and despair, whereas red is the color for passion and love. Here in China, the color red symbolizes joy and celebration. And these symbols of red are so important when it comes to autism acceptance. Love autistic people, don't mourn them. Celebrate autism, don't despair over it. Light It Up Blue encourages people to wear blue, so Red Instead encourages people to do the same, but with red. They have some pretty cool shirts if you want to check them out. I know there are some on Amazon and Redbubble. I'm sure there are more on places like Spring, previously known as Teespring, and other such websites. Just look up Red Instead on these sites. Or hashtag Red Instead, all one word. That works too. Lighted up gold seems to be a bigger movement in the UK, but it's still seen in other places. You know how I have my rainbow infinity symbol? You can see it there on screen. The rainbow infinity symbol represents neurodiversity, while the gold one represents specifically autism. Many autistics use the gold infinity symbol instead. And honestly, I can't blame them. Just using the fill tool to color that symbol gold would have taken a much shorter time than what it took me to make that rainbow design. The color gold was chosen for a reason that I can very much stand behind. A pun! Au is the chemical symbol for gold because of its Latin name aurum, and the word autism starts with the letters AU. AU has even become a common suffix for people to identify themselves as autistic online. If you see a screen name that has AU at the end, they're probably autistic. The AU will usually be typed with both letters having the accent circumflex, which is the little hat on the letters. I'm sure there's an English term for this accent, but I'm Canadian and only learned about it in French class. So, where do we go from here? The message of autism acceptance is spreading. But I know from experience, from comments on previous Autism Acceptance Month posts that I've made, that there are still people who push against this notion. I remember one post, this one, where I had Honeydew climbing these large steps. The first one says Autism Awareness, the second one says Autism Acceptance, and the final step has Autism Appreciation. And I had this one person just leave this raging comment about how autism shouldn't be appreciated. Apparently, it was a step too far. Sorry. We still have a ways to go. Autism Speaks still has a lot of sway, and their Light It Up Blue campaign still gets a lot of attention. But the only way we can do anything about it is to continue pushing for autism acceptance and pushing against Light It Up Blue and Autism Speaks in general. One day, autistics will be the leading voices when it comes to autistic matters. And there's only one way to get there, and that is to never stop climbing.